Perfect. Some of the outcomes of starting our day like this, no matter what our electrical session looks like, is introspection. This is incredibly important if you expect a girl to break stereotypes. Looking inside yourself, taking an analysis of how you're feeling, being honest with you, and then communicating that with everybody around you. You probably don't do that as adult professionals in your work environments, but we're practicing now. The next thing is setting intentions. You may have heard some of the girls saying, I'm excited because it's demo day. Demo day is our big tech expo at the end of summer camp sessions. And we've decided in that circle, I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work towards demo day. I've accepted the challenges, I'm gonna push through them. The next thing is shared control. Our instructors are not at the center of that conversation. We pass that control around, and by doing that, we've actually created an environment where our girls are opting in. They are ready to learn. We know, and they know, that this is an environment where they have to be in control. Why is this important for girls in STEM? First off, warm welcome. If you don't start a learning session, as educators, I'm sure you know, with an opening circle of some sort, some type of warm welcome, you're not starting learning yet. You're still in your life before you have entered this new environment. This is setting our environment. It's very important. The next thing is creating a safe space for learning. By having this emotional safety net, by opening up to everyone else and practicing that clear communication, we've created an environment that is safe for learning. The next thing is eliminating intimidation. We have this girls-only environment first. That's our intention. That's our very core, is creating a girls-only environment, but also even within that, eliminating that type of competitiveness that might pervade in a regular classroom. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what our content looks like and feels like. Our content might be different in a summer camp and the way that we deliver it than if we go see a school once a week for 12 weeks, but we always have 3 core elements. The first is all of the activities are hands-on. Even if I'm standing in front of the classroom as an instructor and giving direction, it's going to have a hands-on component to it. The next thing is I'm going to balance my guided instructions with an open-ended question. And the third thing is I am giving and communicating skills. The girls are communicating skills back to me. We are together building skills for self-sufficiency so that these girls can take the concepts that I'm passing along to them and applying them by herself. Here's a couple of things that we cover in Electric Girls. The first thing is using tools that you do not envision a 5-year-old using. You probably don't think a 5-year-old is capable of using, but we've got some rock stars. Girls are using drill presses, wood saws, 650-degree Fahrenheit soldering irons, wire cutters, multimeters. They're also learning how to code using Scratch, microcontrollers, Arduino, sensors, makey-makeys. The list continues. Here's a really great example of what our classrooms look like at the beginning. I'm going to go back one. Perfect. This is an activity we call paper circuits. Some of you might be familiar with it, but the way that we teach it is very specific and intentional. Yes, our instructors are standing. Yes, our instructors are delivering information. However, our students have the materials in their hands. They are already asking themselves questions and already finding the answers to those questions by playing with the materials, exploring. We also have different ways of teaching different learners. This is our electron game. So we sit in a circle and we all pretend and embody a circuit. So I'm going to be a conductor. You're going to be a conductor. So I'm not just sitting and looking at the word conductor on the board. Instead, I am the conductor. I know the electrons are going through me. Here's another example, squishy circuits, another popular one. Raise your hand if you've done squishy circuits in your classroom before or at least heard of it. Squishy circuits, you may not know, Play-Doh is a conductive material. So it's this idea that conductors, I'm a conductor, this metal pole is a conductor. Is it a conductor? Should be. The tip of this
the
microphone.
Play-Doh that we have at our booth is also a conductor, so come do squishy circuits in real time.
Please come do squishy circuits in real time. But we're using we're using batteries, we're using LEDs, and we're using a material that the girls are used to playing with, Play-Doh, but putting it in a different context. And again, you don't see an instructor in this slide. You just see 2 girls working together, collaborating to solve a problem. Now, we do have an instructor at the front of the classroom here, but what are the girls looking at? Where are they focused? Excuse me? On their material, solving an open-ended question presented to them by their instructor. All of our girls, no matter how young they are, and we had a 4-year-old slip into our, even though we focus on 5 to 14, we had a 4-year-old slip into our summer camps. And Tobin here is using wire cutters. These are sharp. She knows she's not supposed to run around with them like she might run around with scissors. Right, Tobin? You don't run around with scissors. But we have trusted her to manage her own risk, to decide what's important, to prioritize and use these tools herself instead of having an adult do it for her. We have collaborative learning environments, and this is super intentional in what we do. We don't go hire engineers or computer scientists to teach in our classrooms, even though sometimes those two things overlap. Instead, what we do is we have people who are passionate about learning, passionate about classroom management, passionate about education, and they come and sit and learn alongside the girls. We take them through a training where we're like, this is the positive side, this is the negative side, this is the battery, and it gets a little bit more in depth than that. But the most important thing is when they come into this classroom, they're not saying, I'm the instructor, I know what's right, this is this massive concept that you may not understand, that's why you need to pay attention to me. Instead, it's, I don't know. Let's find out together. Mentorship. So a lot of information comes from other girls in Electric Girls. It's part of our community. These two girls on the outside are actually, they learned soldering the day before the girl in the middle. And so instead of the girl in the middle learning soldering from me, she's learning from these two girls instead, who had the experience to pass along. And then this results in a tangible product. This LED didn't light up before, but now that she knows soldering, that skill has taken her to this point, and she learned it from her two friends here. And she's gonna take that concept, that skill that she just learned, and take that into her mind and apply it through our design process. Flora's gonna tell you about that.
Great, so you might be wondering, how do we go from what we said earlier, which is having this, all this content knowledge, to letting girls loose and having them design and build their own completely self-directed projects? So we use a design journal. This is one sheet that we include in our design journal, which helps girls understand what it is they want to create and navigate that process. So you'll see that it includes a description, they're able to identify what supplies they might need, and then in the project design, they show what the actual finished product looks like, in addition to any circuit design that they might need to plan out. We also have girls budget what sort of materials they might need. So the design process, along with this sheet, really helps when a girl says, I need 34 LEDs for my lamp, and you really maybe only need 7. We also have resources in the design journal. So though we may have already covered resistance and Ohm's law, she has that in her design journal to reference back to reinforce that she is in control of her own learning. Also a great classroom management tool. Here is a picture of a girl going through the design journal. And again, these are referenced at every age. So though you see a lot of pencil hearts on that design journal, it may not be the most accurate circuit design. It still reinforces this idea that it's not a makerspace where you come in and just build whatever you want. You have to plan out what you are going to build. You can see that the design journals are referenced frequently in Electric Girls programs. They're always out on the table. When girls run into trouble, they go back to their design journal. We encourage them to do that. Again, why is this important for girls in STEM specifically? First of all, planning and time management. Second, they're able to identify obstacles and solve problems in real time. These are the skills that everyone's talking about when we say, yeah, STEM isn't just about being really proficient at coding. It is about building these soft skills. Controls expectation versus reality. I had a girl tell us that she was going to build a flying car. We said, let's see your design for that. She sits down at her design journal and is able to say, you know, actually I'm going to build an electronic rolling car. It's not going to fly, right? So we didn't have to shut her down and say, that's impossible. We were able to say, well, let's see what you are thinking and how you identify the obstacles. Next is goal setting. Girls are able to identify, here's what I want to create by the end of XYZ amount of time. Build time.
This is my favorite part of the day. I actually stop what I'm doing and I don't answer emails during build time. I built my own laser pointer during build time, so if you guys want to know, come see it at the booth. So build time is where we let the girls go and go to the supply store, get their tools, prepare, and whatever plan they had in their design journal, they implemented during this time. It's a great video of what design time looks like. Build time. This is what build time looks like. So what's going on in these videos is we actually see our instructor helping and pushing the girls past any points of frustration or any points of boredom and keeping them on task, but she's not answering questions for the girl. We also see in that video just really intense work. Girls are really getting involved, working with fine motor skills, working with big ideas, critical thinking to solve problems for themselves. It's time to just work. Some of you made in your own work environments understand what that feels like when you're trying to get something done and your boss is like, "What's going on? How you doing? You doing well? Leave me alone, lady." I'm talking about Florida. But what happens when we allow this time to happen is active engagement. Instead of just being passive and nodding your head yes or answering multiple choice questions, which has its place, we see active engagement where the girls are creating their own goals and meeting those own goals and using tools. So you see the hot glue gun. That's one material that might need to be monitored, but we allow the girls to monitor themselves in this activity or while using this tool. Oops. Girls also monitor their own risk and they're actively engaged when they decide to use tools like the drill press. What this leads to is a tangible and self-directed project. So we don't say you can build a flying car or you can't build a flying car. You